Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Kaneshiro. Every year, the Fremont Unified School District collects nominations from each of its schools for the Teacher of the Year award. And it's always difficult to narrow the field down to just one individual. But this year's recipient is more than deserving. Karen Raudsep is a resource specialist at Brier Elementary School and an employee of the Fremont Unified School District for over 20 years. She is described as an integral part of the school community and has played an enormous role in creating a culture of achievement and success. And with us today is the famous Karen Raudsep to talk about her award and career, along with Brier Elementary School Principal Julie Williams. And sitting in the co-host seat with me today, so I'm not alone, is Assistant Superintendent Dr. Raul Zamora. Thank you so much for coming. I do appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Now,
Good to be here.
I have to ask, I want to ask you first, how was this announced to her? Was this a surprise? Did she have any idea, or did you just tell her in front of her class?
Oh no, it was announced here at the school district. Nobody knows anything until you come. So everyone comes, and Karen
So you didn't even know?
No.
Wow.
No, I felt she was most deserving, but they're all deserving, right?
Of
I think it would be a very difficult decision to make.
Exactly. Okay, so in this meeting, is it a normal meeting or is it a special meeting to announce this?
No, it's a special celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there were 42 of us nominated from the schools. And then they, by the letter of recommendation, took us down to 7 or 8, 7.
I believe so.
And we went to an interview. And so you walked into a room, and I thought there were like 11 people in there. People have told me there weren't 11, but I thought there was 11 people in there, and they asked you questions. And you had 30 minutes to answer 3 questions, and it's
3?
3 questions.
Wow.
Yes, and people are around taking notes, and it's like, oh, they're writing stuff down. I must have answered that correctly.
So who are these people?
So it's a panel from our district that's comprised of principals as well as district personnel.
Okay.
And so they really scrutinize the applicants. And like you mentioned, it is very difficult to decide who should be the Teacher of the Year because, like Karen, they're just all fabulous teachers, and they really represent the teaching staff here and the certificated staff here in Fremont Unified. So it is an extremely arduous process, but they get through it and they have the best come up from the top, and it's just an amazing selection process.
Well, I like how our own people are judging our own people. So you don't have this committee from, DC coming in who don't know us.
Exactly.
I love that. That's great.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've had a couple months to get used to this.
Okay.
How's it been?
Not bad.
Really?
Not bad.
Oh, good. The kids were happy for you?
The kids were excited. They were very excited, and you go out on the yard duty because, of course, even as Teacher of the Year, you still have to do your yard duty. And they'd come running across the playground going, Mrs. Raudsep, congratulations. So it was really an amazing experience to have kids come up to you that you've had years and years and years ago, because I was a first grade teacher before I went into resource specialist.
Okay.
And parents that you hadn't heard from, you got emails from.
Oh, nice.
And people would, oh, it's so deserving. And it's like, oh, thank you. It was almost like you received your eulogy without being dead.
Well, it's always nice to hear that.
It was really amazing. And every day there was an email from someone in the past.
Oh, nice.
And so as it spread out among everyone, it was really an amazing
And even our new
experience.
parents that have come into our community this year, even though this happened in spring, Karen's picture is still up on the website, and parents will say, oh, you have a teacher who's Teacher of the Year. That's really exciting. So they've,
Now, you had mentioned earlier before we started taping that this is kind of like the Miss America type pageant. So because she's a Teacher of the Year, is this for our school district, right?
Yes.
Right.
Is there a county level? Is there a state level?
Correct. So the next step would be, it just happened in September, I believe.
A couple days ago, last week.
Oh, it was last week, where Karen was also among the other school districts in our county nominated for the Alameda County of the Year. And once again, they get to present a film about each of the candidates, and then nominees also selected as the county Teacher of the Year as well. So it's just a great celebration to honor each of the representatives from each of the school districts, and it's really glorious to see the teachers up in the big
Right.
screen and everyone's there. I think the other part that was amazing that day when Karen was announced was your family was present, correct?
My dad, my 86-year-old father,
Oh,
was there.
So they
and
called them in.
well, I went and picked him up in Tracy and then brought him
Okay.
back, and all my kids were there, and
Nice.
staff members had come. So it was. I was really surprised. I think I was speechless actually, and I kept looking at you, going, "Me, me."
And I was so happy
Oh, I bet
because
you
she
were.
deserves it so much. She has transformed our resource program at our school, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me an example. What was done before and what has she changed?
Well, I think she just, you can see the passion of her working with students, and she's working with the neediest students because our resource students really need that extra support. And by transforming, I think that any teacher or any parent would feel very confident putting their child in there, knowing that they're working alongside with Karen. She really has made a difference, and our even our test scores of our special education have come up. So.
Nice.
Very exciting.
Nice.
Very exciting.
Okay, for some of our viewers who don't know what a resource special is, could you explain the difference between what you do and, say, a normal teaching day? What's the difference between a teacher and what you do?
Okay, I still teach, but I teach small groups. So I may have a group of 4, I may have one-on-one. It depends on what we decide when we have our IEP, Individualized Educational Plan. At that meeting, when we meet with the parents and we meet with the psychologist and the gen ed teacher and myself and the SLP if they're doing speech, we decide what's the best program for that child
Okay.
as far as receiving instructional minutes to support them in their learning. And so when a child comes to me, the process is they have been looked at by their teachers as a team. What can the gen ed teacher do to improve this child's learning?
Okay.
And they try strategies. Then we have an intervention team, so then we add interventions to that child's education. And after all these things have gone through in the process of looking at this child repeatedly and they're still not making progress, we go to our final SST. And we talk about the kids, and there's lots of people there that are experts that help kids. And we decide if we're going to do an assessment. If we do an assessment, I do an academic assessment, but the psychologist does her psychoeducational. SLP might do her speech therapist, her speech assessment. And then we come back together and we look at the results with the parents. And we decide, yes, this child meets the qualifications to go into special ed,
Okay.
or they don't.
Right.
And if they don't, then they go back and we add more interventions. Brier
This
has
is
a lot of
great.
things to do to help kids.
This
and
is
I'm
great.
one of those people that help kids when they're really having difficulty and they have a specific learning disability. So,
God, this just proves how you don't give up on any child.
Absolutely.
no, we don't.
We have a mantra at our school that is, every child is my child, or all children are our children. And I would say Karen has been instrumental in really transforming the culture of our school from I teach in my classroom alone to we share students, we share strategies. It's truly, Brier has become a professional learning community, and Karen has really been instrumental because she's a leader at our school.
Right.
She's very well respected, and so she has really
Well,
helped
not
to
only the
transform that.
child levels, as far as support goes, the parents must
Yes.
love you.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, they have someone to talk to about this. This
Yeah.
is great. So does every elementary school have a resource specialist, or is it just Brier?
No, correct. All of our schools have a resource specialist,
good.
and to help with the special education of students with disabilities. And as Karen mentioned, try to really identify how can we support students with their learning piece with the instruction, and then also just with the environment. And I think Karen is very key in trying to identify that for the student as well as the family, and bringing them in to be part of the process. It's really important. I think Karen really exemplifies that connection with our families.
That's great.
Yes.
Now, can Karen meet with other resource specialists from other schools to share secrets? Really?
Well, maybe you want to talk about the professional learning communities and how that's
So
expanded.
we have professional learning communities, which are, or teams, and the district has given us time to actually meet with different teams. So I meet with, I'm actually on 3, and so I meet with my 4th grade team. I have a large number of 4th graders, so I meet with my 4th grade team twice a month to do collaboration and to facilitate my program, so I am supporting that child in what that child is learning on grade level, as well as filling the skills that they don't have below grade level.
Okay.
So, but because I sit on that team, I know what they're doing in their classroom.
Okay.
Then I meet on a resource specialist team, and we have our JAG, which is our Job Alike group, and we get together as an entire group of resource specialists to talk about what's going on, and they give us in-servicing at those. And then I, beyond that, meet with a couple of other resource specialists, and we do best practices and assessments, and we help each other score. If we have an assessment that's a difficult assessment to score, we come together and we help each other.
Okay.
And you learn. That's how teachers learn, is by looking and talking and saying, this didn't go well. I tried teaching it this way and it didn't work. What did I do wrong? Or how can I present it in a different light? That's what's the most amazing thing about PLCs. Because when I was a 1st grade teacher and you had 28 little kiddos in your room, there were always those 4 little kids you couldn't get to master the skill.
Okay.
And so you would meet together as a grade level team and say, okay, I taught it this way. How did you teach it? How can I do this better? And now with PLC, it goes one step further, because then you meet, you look at this data that you have, and you can say, you had the best scores. Can you take these 12, 15 kids, teach it the way you did?
Oh, nice.
And let's see if that raises the score, because it's a different approach.
Right.
And we all teach differently. We may be teaching the same standard, but we're individuals. We teach in a different way.
Right.
But maybe my way isn't the best way for this child.
Right.
And by regrouping those little kiddos, we can meet that standard, meet that goal, meet that child's learning need in a broader way. And it works.
Yeah.
You're not isolated. Okay, I didn't get this, but you can help me get this. You can give me a different strategy. And that's what's so exciting about PLCs and learning from each other and becoming stronger teachers, because you have really strong teachers at your staff. And every time I go into a gen ed classroom, even though I'm not teaching general ed, I learn something. It's like, oh, put that one in my bag of tricks.
I like the culture of your elementary school. It seems like the teachers are very open to each other as far as giving suggestions, advice, tips, whatever, and they're not, you know, the ego isn't like damaged. I like that.
It's important.
Yeah.
Obviously, we think alike.
That's great.
And that truly is the power of the professional learning communities, to share the ideas and strategies amongst your colleagues, and to really hone into, you know, this is a great strategy, or how do you teach those 4 students? Because we're having difficulty where colleagues get that opportunity to share. And I think Brier is probably one of the lead in the PLC movement. I think
We've been
Julie's done
doing
a
it
great
for
job.
quite a while.
Nice.
Yeah. This is our fifth year. So.
Okay. Now, when your kids graduate up to the, you know, the next, is it middle school now, or is it still junior high?
Junior high.
Junior high.
yes.
Okay. Can those resource specialists call you to see what do I need to know about this child?
When you have a 6th grader that is transitioning to a junior high, we have what's called a transition IEP.
Okay.
And so the resource specialist from the junior high comes down, meets with the students and their parents
Okay.
to explain to them what the process is in junior high, how the class assignments work, and how their IEP will be continued in junior high.
Good.
So that transition is there to support the kids.
Yeah, because the kids get lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah,
that's
they
a
can.
huge change.
It is a very big change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're there to support.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So did your fellow teachers, what was their reaction? I mean,
Most of them said, well deserved. And I was so humbled to be nominated. You know, it's one thing to be nominated by your principal, but to be nominated by your staff
yeah,
is like overwhelming.
they do like me.
Well, I know they like me, and I know that they respect me, because when I switched from first grade into resource, I did it in March. I didn't do it at a transition at the end of the year. So I did it mid-year. And one of the hardest things of being a resource specialist is scheduling, because you're trying to work around teachers' preps, keep the kids in their core subjects, all of that.
It's a lot of
And when I
scheduling.
switched, those teachers said, do what you want to do.
Nice.
And so that flexibility was huge. And even now, you go along, we've been in school for 6 weeks,
Yeah, something like that.
7 weeks, and I now have to change my schedule again.
Yeah.
And so you go to the teachers and you say, I'm sorry. However, guess what? I have to change. And they'll say, don't worry about it.
Nice.
And so my staff is very supportive of my program,
Yep.
but they also see results. So those
right.
kids that are going into resource now are making growth,
Okay.
you know. And it used to be that special ed was a lifer program. You were in there, you get in there, you're there for life. And we're getting to the point where we're actually starting to dismiss kids.
Nice.
So they've come up from being below grade level to grade level, being successful in the classroom without support. And so you can dismiss
Because the
them.
learning disability is never going to go away,
Right.
but the strategies that are taught, that we learn about our own strengths and weaknesses and
Right.
be able to cope with that, that's what Karen has really been instrumental in being able to do, and
Nice.
it's exciting.
Now, the announcement of her award was last spring?
in
Yes,
May.
May. So your that year's class, did they get a chance to say congratulations before they went on summer break?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We went back. We had probably 4 weeks of school. It happens in
Okay.
what, early
like
May.
the April, the 11th or something like that of May.
Yeah,
It's Day of
yeah.
the Teacher is when they announced it.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
during that first week or
first
two
2
of
weeks
May.
of May,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. Now,
Yeah.
we have a minute left, but can you tell me what the awards dinner was like for you?
The award, which one? The Alameda County one or Fremont's?
I want to know about Fremont's first.
Fremont's was like a beauty pageant. It was. There were 7 of us standing up there, and we had been given a bouquet of roses. And so you're standing up there. It's like, well, where do I put my feet? How do I stand? I've never been in a beauty pageant before. And then Dr. Zamora said, and the teacher of the year is from Brier Elementary School. And I looked at him. And
Ooh,
it's
I still
like,
got chills
wait a
when I
minute.
said
Brier Elementary School. That's what's going through my head. That's
could
me.
that be?
That's me. And then he said,
I mean,
my
we're all
name.
clapping, and she's
it's
still
like,
going, "Am I a
wait a minute, that's me." And then he hands me the microphone, and it's like,
And as you can tell, Karen's not usually at a loss for words.
and when we were getting ready, my future son-in-law was at home with us, and he said, "Do you have your speech done?" It's like, no, I don't need a speech. I needed a
Surprise,
speech,
yeah.
but it was okay. I was quite capable of giving a speech on a moment's notice.
Oh, good.
And it was wonderful. It was so joyous. And then we had to go to the board meeting and give another speech.
Exactly.
So we went to the board meeting and gave another speech. It was exciting.
That's great.
It was really, really thrilling. My dad was tickled.
I bet. It was just cloud 9.
Oh, I think that was the greatest gift that I had, was being able to have my dad there.
Yeah, that's great.
So it was very
great.
exciting, very just speechless.
You
For
still
me,
are.
it's like speechless, shocking. But and I felt that it's not my award; it was my staff's award.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way, because without my staff, I wouldn't have been able to implement the program that I've done at
Yeah.
Brier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we congratulate you here. So proud of you. One of our own. Yay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.
Of
course. And from everyone here at Community Conversations, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.